back to Aether. So today we're going to be talking about healing together by healing within. And the question that is in front of us at all times is, are we, in these days right now, are we feeling isolated? Are we, having any difficulties with health, that kind of thing? Any concerns about that kind of stuff? The thing is that we have the choice to live either in love or in fear, and we can't be in both. We can only be in one or the other. And the choice that we make by being in one of those two places determines whether we're able to be healthy and maintain good relationships, or whether we end up being isolated and vulnerable to health issues. And today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about why this happens and how to make the most of it.
Mm-hmm.
So welcome.
Yeah, and today we have special guest, Mari Okazaki. She is a wonderful person, and she is a Reiki practitioner. She is joining us from her Reiki practice. How do you call it? Reiki room? Studio or therapy room. And she does teaches the course too, if you want to learn how to do Reiki. So she does both. And we are so honored to have her in this call today, and cannot wait what wisdom she can bring into this call.
Yeah, and she's coming from Chilliwack, British Columbia, Canada, and she works with people locally and online for distance Reiki.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
So, we can just jump in about feeling isolated, have lots of concerns. That's constant, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. These days, there's an epidemic of relationship issues that we see out there, and people are feeling isolated or locked up with the same people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Too much. All the stuff that's happened in the world recently, relationships with ourselves, relationships with others have taken a serious hit, and that's not good for anybody, right? Because there's this kind of atmosphere of fear that we are living in, fear of other people, fear of what could happen to us, that kind of stuff, and it's just that cannot help us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like I was saying earlier, we can only be in one of those two states, either in a state of fear or in a state of love. You can't keep both of those emotions in your body at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm getting at there is that there's a whole range of emotions that we don't really necessarily think are fear, but they actually are. Things like sadness, depression, anxiety, anger, any of those things, frustration, all of that stuff is ultimately, if you look underneath the covers, you'll see that what that's based on is actually you're afraid of something. So just as one example,
Mm-hmm.
if I get mad at Satomi, it's because I'm afraid that something bad is going to happen by what she's doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe putting too much spice in the food or something like that, right? So it's too spicy. So I'm so afraid of the spice getting in there that I might get angry. So that's what's underlying the fear.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd encourage anybody to look at what their motivations in a given situation, where they're coming from. The same is true on the side of love, right? All those good emotions that we feel, joy, happiness, companionship, that good feeling that you have, all those kind of things. Anytime you're connecting with other people, that feeling you're getting is based on love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when people are isolated, they just start to create the story in the head, right? If they're not output, they're not sharing the emotions, so emotion will start to circulate inside. And then once if it's a fear-based, the story becomes negative, and the mind starts to believe that negative story, and then the worry comes, and Yeah, so it's definitely isolation is creating the vicious cycle of negative mind.
Yes, exactly right.
Like a fear loves to fear loves fear, right? If you have a little bit fear and you search for more fear, right? Because you're in fear, and I want to be fear. It's based on you want to be safe, right? It's a survival thing, and it's natural. It's okay to have fear, but what we're talking about in staying in fear the whole time is not healthy.
A
Right?
moment of fear that passes, and it's not very common. Just once in a while, that's fine. That's keeping you safe from normal kinds of things.
Yeah, but the fear, when you're having fear and constant fear, and then you subconsciously you look for more fear. Is this danger? Is this thing? Oh, this is not good. It's not a good news. It's bad news, and it could happen to me, and then it could happen to my family, and then it just you are so like fear antenna is so activated, right? And then you will receive more fear. You are inviting more fear, and then it's gonna be harder to get out of fear and be in a love state, right? So that's what's been happening. I think that's what I feel that's happening for lots of people, right? So yeah, we want to get out of fear and stay in love. We're not saying that don't let go of fear. Just be what can I say?
So the fear is a bad thing in
Yeah,
your
we're
situation.
not talking about
not always all the
fear is
time.
bad, right? It's like a healthy sign of just if car coming rushing to you, you have this fear reaction to get out of it. So it's saving your life, right? So it's healthy, right? But still, if it's just always like watching news and oh, this is not good, and somebody talking about whatever, and oh, this is not good, and you staying in state that makes your body unhealthy, and then your relationship becomes unhealthy, right? So those things that we're talking about. So what we want to focus on is how can we shift out of fear and into love state, right?
We need to be able to identify the fear, like a moment of the fear is a protection, just like you, Satomi-san, you say that that feeling of fear could protect yourself. That's our self-defense system, so we need that. But the important thing is that if we stay in that fear for way too long, then our mind is starting to feel comfortable to be in fear, and it staying in there. So yeah, it's important to identify: is it a protection? Is it a vicious? Am I causing vicious cycle of it?
Yeah, is this necessary to be in this state right now, or just because? Or yeah, it's just if you are being aware, right? Being aware and why I'm feeling this, right? Why I'm thinking this, why I'm doing this, and then you just check yourself, and then you can be more aware, and then giving yourself a chance to switch off fear mode, and then you can go into love mode.
Yeah,
right?
and we were saying earlier, just I touched on it, that being in that place can lead to relationship issues, can really lead to health issues. Maybe we can talk a little bit now about why that happens. What's the connection? So, I mean, if you're in fear, oh no, Satomi's going to put too much spice in the food, then I might respond with anger, right, and say, "What are you doing?" Right? That's me doing that a bunch is not easy on our relationship, right? So that it creates that fear immediately creates a wall and a separation between us, and it creates a point of contention. It creates friction between us, right? So that's hard in our relationship, and that's true for everybody's relationship, right?
Like if he does that all the time, I would create fear when I'm cooking something. Oh, is he gonna say something about the spice I'm putting? Is this gonna be too much, or is this not enough, or should I use this or not use this? I'm making choices based on what he would, how he would react, right?
Yeah.
So that's fear-based decision.
Yeah, on your part.
On my part,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, when I'm every time I cook, I might get into this fear, right? And then every time he sees me cooking, he's right. So it's not, it doesn't work.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
it's just one simple example, and like we talked about this every day average, we make 35,000 decisions in one day, right? And then this little thing, that should I put, how much spice I should put, which one I should put, those you count those one and up to 35,000. And then if you are making those decisions in fear-based, it can go
Sideways. Yeah.
Yeah.
And anger and worry, they want to communicate each other really, they want to stay together, anger and worry, right? So when anger, one person anger, it's a result of the past. So they're staying in the past moment. And why did you put this up too much spice, which is maybe 20 seconds ago? And then the worry wants to communicate with the anger. So worry said, oh, then what if I put too much spice in the food? What's going to happen in that dinner table? So the anger and worry wants to communicate together really well. So how can we shift it, right? So that means that we need to again identify: is my mind in the past because I'm angry now, or is my mind in the future because I'm worrying? And yeah, 35. Yeah, so it's a constant battle in the head, but hopefully myself too, like if we can naturally stay in the present moment, so then we're not angry and we're not worrying, and
Yeah, absolutely right. That's a lot of reinforcement with all those little decisions at 35,000 per day, right? And if you're stuck in there, if you're in, it's not hard to be in, sort of kind of a mild fear-based mindset when you wake up, and to kind of get stuck there and stay there for the whole day. That's not a hard thing to do. And if that's what's happening, then there's 35,000 decisions that you're making that day that are basically going to be pretty much all fear-based, right?
You might not notice. That's the tricky part, right? You don't think you're in fear because it's mild, but like if you making
you might think it's just normal, right?
Yeah, because you're used to it. Like Mari-san said, that you're comfortable being in that state, right? And then comfortable means it's normal, right? And then you think it's normal, and then you don't recognize that you have fear because it's so normal, so mild, right? You're not making a huge decision, and then you're not feeling that like this, but still
necessarily. But you might be like underneath there might be a bit of that going on. It's like there might be a little bit of resentment towards me that he's never lets me put in the spices that I like. You might resent me over time, and I might resent you, going like, she can never do the dinner right or something, right? So like I might be like, just have this, and we might just both think that's normal, right? Like that's just the way it is. It's in our relationship. There's a history of this, and that's just normal. But that's not a great place to call normal. And it's not a great. What's that?
Yeah. So how do we get out from that?
Yeah, exactly, right. So how do we get out? So before we get there, let's come back to that question. I want to just mention quickly that obviously that's that's the basis of how we end up with relationship problems, right? Is right there, is that fear-based thinking. And that extends to all of our relationships, not just, between a married couple, every single person that we know. And there's an epidemic of that going on right now. But then it also, if you look at it just a little bit different angle, if we're in that fear-based mindset, I'm not just resenting Satomi, she never does dinner right, blah, 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 and I'm angry about that and carrying that around all day long, then and just, rolling that around, that anger, and that fear is going to hurt my health. Because you can't be in a healthy mind, your mindset has an enormous impact on your health. That's known now. Like it's a well-known fact that through epigenetics and the beliefs that we hold, how they impact the function in our body, right? So if we're resentful, if we're anxious about, like, if I'm worried about Satomi and what she might do all day long, or I'm worried about other things that are going on in my life, if I'm anxious about that kind of stuff, that activates fear response, that activates your fight or flight response. And if you're in that fight or flight response, either in a mild way or a more intense way at different times during the day, you can't be in a healing mode. Because that's the other thing, you can only be in one or two things, is either in healing mode, healing and growth mode, or in protection mode. And those go directly with being in a love-based perspective with the healing and growth, or if you're in a fear-based perspective, that goes directly with protection mode, right? So you can only be in one of those two things. So your body, the way it reflects that fear and love, is either in healing and growth or in protection. So if you do not have any time in your day for healing and growth, where does that lead to? Right? Health problems, long-term serious health problems. So
because fear, just shortcut understanding, fear literally shut down your immune system. Right?
Literally. And that's very serious these days. We can't overstate that point. How serious this point is. If we are shutting down literally our immune system with a fear-based perspective, if we're like open to all this fear, that shuts down our immune system and leaves us vulnerable to health problems. It's simple math there. We're not making any of this stuff up. This is well-known science now. And like you said, Mari, how do you do anything about it, right?
Pardon me?
You mentioned, you asked the perfect question, which is, what do you do about it, right? So the thing to do is to first of all recognize the difference, right? So how do we know the difference? I'll put that question back.
Well, it probably come back to the isolation, right? Like if you're isolated, then you don't communicate with the other people. And often we realize what's our mind state by communicating with the other people. So that's not helping right now, because most of the people are really limited with meeting other people. Many, not most, but many. And then isolation, like humans are designed to be supporting each other, and then we are designed to live in a community, and the communicating and helping each other. So, and from the physiological point of view, like meeting each other and looking at the eyes. I'm looking at the camera right now, so that you feel like I'm looking at you, and looking at the eyes, eye contact by in person, and also touching. Hugging and touching and shaking hands and rubbing the back, and are you okay? And that kind of touch is from the physical point of view, it creates a happy hormone, like called oxytocin, and that's lacking. And when the happy hormone's not created, then we start to go a bit down and don't have a moment to feel happiness. So how do we get out is to get out. physically. Get out.
Like get out of the house. That's what
Come
you
on. Yeah, and if not, get out to meet with have your conversation like this. Online is sort of okay. There's just no touch, but there's a direct connection. Yeah, so get out from your cocoon and then time to talk. That's it's important. That's a next step, I think. First is recognizing. Next is get out. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that, connecting. I think we can feel instant safety that we are connected, right?
Yeah.
Isolated, you feel lonely and then unsafe, just as human being thing, right?
Yeah.
Just being connected, getting out, even if you cannot get out, even online, it still helps. But if literally you can move and see people in person, that's way better, and everybody agree, I think. Just connecting, it's just relief and feeling that's feeling safe, and that I would feel that instantly, right? And then you are um, starting to get out of this fear zone. You feeling um, that love from other, right? And then you are shifting to the love state instead of fear. So yeah, that's very important.
So you first have to be honest with yourself,
Right.
and develop some kind of awareness of the state that you're in, right? So you have to just step back, and look inside yourself and say, where am I coming from right now, right? What kind of place am I in? So I'm feeling kind of a little bit resentful. So, well, what's underneath that, right? And if you actually check it out, you look at it honestly, end up being about fear. And so having that awareness, that's number one. And then, like you guys are saying, one of the most important things is to simply get out and connect with people in some fashion. Like, this is fine, but also, and you can maintain really strong, important relationships, at least through this, right? But it is even better, as you said, Mari, to actually be in physical contact with
Yeah.
to have that, right? So it's too bad right now that ends up being limited.
And then being aware, noticing which state you are in. That's a tricky one, right? And then sometimes I do that all the time, self-check. Let's pick this spice thing, cooking thing. It's not happening every day. It sounds like every day, but we're just gonna stick with that topic. But so if
keep the conversation spicy.
if I'm feeling right the fear, okay, I'm thinking I'm cooking while I'm feeling this fear. I'm making decision based on how he feels, right? And then okay, I'm in fear mode, and I notice that, and then I'll do my best to shift away. Okay, so sometimes if I'm feeling lots of pressure, I would make a decision. You know what? If he doesn't like it, he can make his own.
Okay.
I don't have to worry about
That's
it.
happened.
I happened. To learn, right? And I just want to make meal that I enjoy and kids enjoy, and if I'm only focusing on how he feels, and then I'm just like in fear mode and afraid, this is not good, this is not healthy, and then the food I'm cooking, like I'm not cooking with love, I'm cooking with fear. The food's not gonna be healthy, happy food, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna put that aside. I'm just gonna make whatever I want to make that I would love to eat, right? And if he decides to not to eat, Okay, that's fine. Go ahead. You can make your own. Right? He's grown up man. Right? So that could
But
be.
you do make food with love all the time, every day. So,
But so and then sometimes it receives well, sometimes it doesn't. He could get more mad, right? And then okay, and then but I'm once I'm aware that I was in fear, I can stay aware. Okay, I'm making a choice, right?
Mhm.
A healthy choice for myself, and so I can stay in uh, peace. And then if I'm staying in peace, and whatever he says, I can react in a better way, not
Mhm.
from fear,
mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And the other thing I do is this is that we earlier we were actually when we were talking about this. When I make decision, am I
Mm.
spelling it right?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard
Yeah.
to see. I need glasses.
Mhm.
But so like if I'm frustrated and angry, especially with someone, right? And then I use this as an advisor a lot of times. What it is if this is the last day of my life, like you never know when you're gonna die, right? If this is the last day, do I want to make this choice, right?
Mhm,
Do I want to be stay frustrated with Paul,
mhm,
and then do I want that frustrated Satomi is the last
Mhm.
Satomi he remember? Is that what I want, right? And then the answer is always no. I
Mhm.
don't want people remember me as, oh, she was so mad when
Mhm.
she passed away. No, I don't want that. Okay, so I want to be more happy self, right?
Yeah.
So that's the decision. So I that way I can snap out of it, right?
Mhm.
And then
Yeah, that's great.
like and then just uh, daily activity, right? If today is the last day, what do I want to do, right? Oh, I want to do that thing that I was putting off for a long time. If today is the last day, I want to do it, right?
Mhm.
I want to
Yeah.
do it today. There's no and then I at least I can say I did it, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
those kind of thing, and then this is very powerful one for me,
Absolutely.
and as
Yeah.
an advisor, and
mhm.
it's not like I'm scared of death, so I might die tomorrow, and I gotta do this.
Yeah.
No, it's just let's think, right?
Mhm.
If today's the last day, what do I want to do? Who
Yeah.
I want to be? How I want to be?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and if
Yeah.
you think with that, this as an advisor is that if you die with the anger, like rushing out with the anger, and then die next day, and then what that person would feel like, right? Like left
Mhm.
behind, and oh, maybe because of me, she died.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
be
that could
there
happen too.
forever,
Yeah.
entire their life.
Mhm.
Yeah, and also if you live as a death and advisor, and then that to me, if I think that way every day, okay, if this is the last day of my life, then I for me it's like I'm gonna say thank you to this person, another person, that person. I just gonna go around to other people, just say thank you and thank you and thank
Mhm.
you. Yeah, so if we can carry on that way every day, and it feels like filled with the gratitude. And then, as Paul says, that you can be only one side or another, fear of love or fear of gratitude. Yeah, so we can make a choice with this death as our teacher. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely right. So it's a very powerful practice,
Mhm.
and I
Mhm.
know Satomi does it all the time.
Mhm.
And what it does is it helps us make really good, honest decisions, right?
Right.
So,
Mhm.
because ultimately everybody does die, right? And
Mhm. Yeah.
it's a reality. We don't know when it's
Mhm.
going to happen. We have to be comfortable with that.
Mhm.
Um, and um, then it helps us actually make decisions that make our life into something better.
Yeah.
Because which is really, it's strange, but that's the way it works, right? It's like, because if we could live forever, then what the heck, I don't need to have that person as my friend. I can go make another friend, and I'll be living forever. So that things become kind of it makes things it makes things less valuable, your experience.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have the lives that we do have, which are altogether pretty short, you want to cherish the time that we have here, right? You want to be able to, and that leaves us, that doesn't leave us any room to mess around. We've got the relationships that we have, the choices that we make, the place that we are in right now, that matters.
Yeah, right.
It really matters. So it helps push us in a direction. If you keep that perspective, it helps push us in a direction that's healthy for ourselves and for the people around us.
How we identify, for me, how I identify, is it a love base or fear base, is that often when I make a decision on a fear base, a lot of outside, like involved with the other people's opinion or judgment. Okay, if I make this decision, what they gonna think, what the other person think, and then that's always not just me, but involve the surrounding. But if it's love based, I'm just gonna do it. Right? For example, like if I decided to give $100 for the people who's living in a street, if it's love based, then okay, this is $100, and whether you use for the drinking or drug or it doesn't matter. This is my love to you, and I hope you get a good food. But if it's a fear based, then it's trying to make a decision. Then okay, this is $100. If I give this $100, what my husband's gonna think? Okay, you wasted your time, money, or what's the other people on the street think? Why did you give this one to just that person? Then why didn't you give $20 for the 5 people? And that kind of thing start to mind chatter starting to happen. Yeah, so love-based decision is really clear-cut. I'm just going to do it. And then fear-based is like a lot of chatter happens.
Yeah. Like my cooking and spice, same thing, right? If I'm fear-based, I'm thinking about how he's gonna react.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? And then you know what? I don't want to feel that way, so let the fear go, and I'm just gonna make what I want to eat. Right, so
you're not doing it because you're just going to do it.
Every
no,
that's very different, right? Because if you're doing it just because that's just what you want to do, and to heck with Paul, right? Then that's different. That's not love based. If it's pushing me away, right? If it's to do it to spite me, right? Because he wasn't nice to me, so I'm not going to make him any food. That's pushing away. That's fear based too, right? Because that's fighting and all that kind of stuff, and maybe I'll teach him a lesson. He won't do that thing next time, right? Like all that stuff. No, if you're making a choice, if you're making a choice to make the food you want to eat, it's because it's good food, and you know
something that I love to eat. So I can enjoy cooking, right?
And it applies to every situations, right? Like people are mirroring each other, reflecting each other. So what you have. What you see is what you have. So for example, if you go out in a grocery shopping, and if you keep seeing the angry people, and that means that you have an anger inside. But if you keep seeing the great, like kind people, then probably you have the kindness inside. So seeing the situation will teach us, okay, are you fear-based? Are you love-based? So that's the old teaching from Japan, that people are mirrors. And we can polish ourselves by looking at the other people.
Yeah, exactly. Ultimately, what we're talking about here is it's an old teaching. It's like that when you're facing choices, and we're saying earlier, it's all day long. If the choice, if the option that you're looking at, that you're considering going with, is not based on love, the rule is make a different choice. Just make a different choice. No matter what is going on in your life. If your reason for wanting to go a certain way is because that person was mean to you, or because you want to teach them a lesson, or you just get sick of dealing with them, all this kind of stuff. You're just frustrated, all angry, depressed, all those things. If that's underneath what's going on, your choice, then you have to, again, use death as your advisor and say, okay, look, I've learned some lessons in my life, and ultimately, really, I do know that this is not the right thing to do, but I really feel like I want to do it. But listen to that voice that's coming from, it's your death is giving you advice, because you've only got a little bit of time here. This is, each one of those decisions matter. They all matter, and you want to, and every time I've done this, I've been in some really tough situations with some difficult people, and I've been wanting to make choices that go a certain way. But when I was really real with myself, I got really real. It's like, this is not based on love. So I decided, okay, fine, I'm going to give that up. I'm going to go a different way. I make a different choice. And when I did that, and I made my choice based on love, it made a world of difference to me. It makes the world of difference. My life took a radically different direction when I started doing that, right? So that's what we're talking about here, is just setting that, making a different choice than the one that based on fear.
Yeah,
And you have to be real.
Be honest.
You have to be brutally honest with yourself.
And sometimes people, we don't like to hear the truth, right? When we hear the truth, then okay, we get mad. Just so be honest with us and be
Another important point is well, you want what? How do you know what to do, right? And like you guys are saying, it's like you have this, something is drawing you a certain direction, right?
Like
to give that $100. Intuition, right? So the getting into that place where you're able to receive that intuitive guidance is a beautiful thing, and it's so helpful. But how do we get into a place where we're actually able to receive intuition? So if we're like facing a difficult decision and we're kind of worked up and angry,
so I think it's intuition. When your mind is constantly busy, then you don't know which is intuition, which is your thought, make up thought, right? So the first thing is to get a good intuition is to have a space between the thought. So the meditation or something quiet, or sometimes meditation is people become, the mind chatter becomes too loud because meditation is so quiet and the mind starts to get loud. So not for everyone probably, but the meditation comes in many different forms. Running in the morning, or laughing a lot, or writing something like constantly, that could be meditation too. So people just have to choose the meditation that's suitable for them, and have the space between the mind, so that when intuition comes in, you just know, okay, why didn't I think about this before? And I think I'm going to take an action. So I think the first step is to calm your mind. So step back from that chaotic situation.
And then Marison, you have some exercise, like a grounding exercise that you always do, and you want to share with us?
Sure. Yeah. That tree. Tree exercise. Something I come up with when I sit down under the tree and then try to calm down, because sometimes I have a really, really busy life, and so I just sit down in the backyard and sit by the tree. And then, so what I do is I just connect myself with the tree. So pretend I am the tree. So what I do is that I'm just going to visualize myself. So I'm closing my eyes, but I become the tree, and the roots are coming out from my body, and the root is going through the earth and going to the core of the earth. When the root is touching the core of the earth, the core of the earth become red, like fire red, and that energy, fire energy, come through the root and then come back to my body, and it comes through my body, and then branches coming out. So it's the tree is branching out, and each branch is touching the star. So when the branch touched the star, the red color immediately changed to white. And the white color come through the branch, come back to my body, and come through my body, and they go through my root, and then go down to the earth and touch the core of the earth. When the white root touched the core of the root, it changed to the red. And the red fire energy comes through the root, come back to my body through the root, and comes through my body, and still red color, and go out to the branch. The branch touched the stars, and then change the color to the white, and then white color comes back through the branch, come back to my body, and then come through my body and go through my roots and touch the core of the earth. So I just repeat over and over and over, and then the breathing is really becomes slow, and in a while I just become really one with earth. So that's what I do.
Yeah, one with the earth, and also I feel like one with universe. Right? Yeah, it's beautiful exercise. Thank you so much. I'm gonna add that one to my list.
Yeah,
I have lots of different ones, and then sometimes I use different ones. I like to have different ones. Just the feeling, oh, I want to do this one today, and next day different, right? So, but thank you for sharing that. And then you were saying after you do that, and you can separate, you can have a little space between yourself and then your thoughts, and then your intuition. You're ready to use your intuition. It just comes in.
It's beautiful.
And well, the mind naturally stop doing that visualization, but naturally goes into the quiet meditative mode, and that's how I be in touch with that space between the thoughts.
Yeah. And some that's absolutely beautiful, and it can work in so many situations. But also, some people, they've got like a lot of really hot energy going on. If that's what's going on, I find a lot of cases just some exercise, right? Just let it blow off.
Yeah.
Go out and go for a bike ride, or some any kind of Zumba or something, right? Something to blow off steam, and then and having some sort of meditative exercise to come along afterwards, like your visualization one you're saying, right? Anything like that lets you settle into that quiet receptive space. So you gotta release some of that hot energy sometimes.
That's right. Yeah.
Because it gets in the way. All is what we're saying is being in that space gets in the way of receiving.
And you feel stuck. Sometimes you physically you have to shake it off, like Mari-san, you were saying. Some people try to meditate, and then the voice gets louder and louder. So those people just go do exercise, right? And then shake it off. Boxing and kick and punch, and just going like this, shaking, right?
Japanese people go out to karaoke, sing a song with
it's anything physical, and physically you are changing your energy flow, right? And then after that you might be able to meditate too, and go farther. But everybody can pick.
There's lots of different ways, but those are just a couple of examples. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then once you have that intuitive connection, you're able to receive that feeling that just something feels right,
Yeah.
about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? Something truly feels right, not
Mhm.
that you want to, and it feels satisfying to get what you want. It's not because you're getting what you want. This just feels like the right thing to do,
Yeah.
right? In some way, and that's your intuitive guidance, right? Yeah.
And another exercise that I often use is the Hawaiian method of healing. Is called Ho'oponopono. That probably many people who's watching this already know. Just keep repeating the 4 phrase over and over and over. And the 4 phrase is, "I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you." So yeah, oh, that's great. Yeah, so I'm sorry, thank you, I love you. Yeah. And
you don't have to have a person, right? You can just simply repeat those 4 phrases.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to be specific, thinking about the situation in any way. It can be completely abstract. You're just saying those words, and you're just repeating them. And it's like a mantra that brings you into that quiet space. I love it.
Yeah, this whole phrase is so powerful. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's good to repeat fast. Like, "I'm sorry, please forgive me," just like a mantra. But also, it's good to repeat slowly. So then, one sentence, and there's a space, and then "please forgive me," and space. "Thank you," and space, and make that space longer and longer as you get used to it. Like, that quiet space in the brain. Maybe then intuition might be able to pop in.
And then I can feel that you are connecting within by saying it slowly. Sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And every time I say it, I'm feeling those energy and feeling in my body, and then I can feel the shift. Right? So this is very powerful. Ho'oponopono.
And quite powerful too.
Yeah. So and I'll share one before we end. I do affirmation. I've been doing this affirmation for years, and lately I shifted a little bit. It used to be this is, "I am filled with powerful, beautiful, peaceful, healing energy." Right? When I'm frustrated or angry, I repeat that, and then it just, the energy shift, right? And the phrase is, "I am filled with powerful, beautiful, peaceful, healing energy." And when I say that, I do receive the energy from like the sun or the earth and the universe. I feel that it's coming in, right? I'm feeling my body and with those powerful healing energy. And I was doing that, and recently I think my intuition guided me to change from I to we are. And then I just try to do that, right? So instead of I am, I'm saying we are filled with powerful, beautiful, peaceful, healing energy. And then that I can expand the energy. I was just focusing on myself. Right? Then I can feel the whole world and the universe and in harmony and together, and we becoming one. And that was powerful. And see if I can write it. But so that's what we are. I have been doing. That's my can't see.
She's trying to type.
Women are multi-talented. We always trying to do multiple things.
What peace
peaceful, healing energy.
So more like you're inviting people into that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
I spelled it right. Let's see.
Yep, that's good.
So this
Are.
is a phrase, and then to me it really, like when I was saying I am filled with, and I switched it, that really made a huge difference, and I love this one. And
nice.
usually do it outside, quiet space, right? Like my son's doing a tree grounding, same kind of idea. But yeah, so that's making us together, like this topic, today's topic, heal together by healing within, right?
Right.
So
Yeah. Start from.
I feel that healing, we are healing together. Yeah. So, so yeah, give it a try. And
Yeah.
no, yeah.
Including.
Another thing that we should bring into the consideration here too is the kind of influences we expose ourselves to, right? So like, there are let's just say there's other things. There's a lot of things going on in our lives, of course, right? A lot of we're receiving stuff all the time, and we're like sponges. We bring that stuff all together, like news, for example, right? Fine, and it's completely understandable that we want to know about stuff. And so my rule, because you get overwhelmed, right? With all this stuff, you can get it from all kinds of different sources, social media, whatever, right? But you can get overwhelmed with this stuff. And so my rule is to only let myself, I don't watch news, for example. It's a big help, right? I have an app, and I just scan quickly, and I only give myself 10 minutes a day maximum. And then if I look past the headlines, all I do is just I only do that when it's a story that has some real direct effect on my life.
Yeah,
and
just enough to catch up with what's happening.
Yeah, exactly, right. Just to kind of keep a little bit of a heads up on stuff. Maybe they're going to change tax rules or something like that. You want to be aware of that kind of stuff. So you don't have to put your head in the sand. But if you're immersed in this stuff, in this flood of material that's negative, you're going to end up in a fear-based perspective, right? Especially with all the stuff that's going on in the world. It's a bit crazy, right? So you want to be able to stay human. You want to stay in connection with your humanity. And you need that calm, that quiet space. You need to be able to be captain of your own ship, kind of thing, instead of being pushed around by the waves of everything that's going on around you. And if you're just letting yourself be flooded by that material, right?
And you need to have the strength to be able to tell yourself that everything's going to be okay, right? If everybody has a life, and everybody probably has experienced that when you look back your life, then everything, dots are connected, like a bad thing or good thing. When we look back our life, then okay, there was a reason to it. I thought I was so unpleasant and it's so negative, and I was so going into the deep dark spot, but it's connected to something good. So it's in the past. So if we look at future, for sure there's dots back and forth and going back and forth, and good dots and bad dots, or dark dots or bright dots. It's all connected. And if we can trust ourselves that everything's going to be okay, everything has a reason behind it. So, but often we don't see the reason behind it. When we are caught up in right in the middle of the storm, then we don't see the reason. But when we get out from the storm, then we'll know the good reason. Okay, that's why. Yeah. So we have the strength to be able to tell ourselves, trust. This is part of the process.
Yeah, that's such a powerful and important point, Mary. Thank you for sharing that. One thing that, like, lots of stuff has happened in my life, Some of
Yeah.
it is obviously positive, something that I'm welcoming, I'm really excited about. But you know, there's things that I'm not as excited about, and I'm not really into it. But what I've always found is that there is a reason for it, like you're saying, right?
Right.
There,
Mhm.
I've always found that, like, you know, somebody's handing me this big stinky ball of mud, right? Like,
Mhm.
I don't want to deal with this. You know, I, this is
So thank
this is
you.
this is the bad news, right?
Mhm.
So, like, I don't want to deal with this mess. But if you actually, if you step back and you use some water to wash away that mud, right? What you'll find is in the center there, there's a pearl in there. So
Yeah.
there's a reason for that
Mhm.
happening in your life
Mhm.
that takes that gives it gives meaning to our life, right?
Mhm.
There's when you look at things that way.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's just
Oh.
stuff happening, and you like it or you don't like it, right? You want it or you don't want it, and that's kind of it's an understandable way of looking at things, but it doesn't ultimately lead to happiness. That's for
Mhm.
sure,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? We know that, right?
Mhm.
You can't get what you want,
Yeah.
right? Life
And,
gives you what you need.
and sometimes if you keep refusing the ball of mud,
Mhm.
right? No, I don't want it. I don't want it.
Deal with it.
You keep receiving it
Mhm.
until you step back and, why and I keep receiving it,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
then you go look into it. Oh, there's a pearl.
Mhm.
That's what I was supposed to receive, right?
Mhm.
But if you keep refusing it, that just keeps happening,
Mhm.
right? And so that's
Or maybe that pearl is a seed, and maybe all that mud is meant. You're supposed to be a farmer, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Take the seed and use the mud and build something
Yeah.
beautiful out of that. Out of what was at first was a very hard experience for you,
Mhm.
right? There's something in there,
Yeah.
and when you look at it that way,
Mhm.
what I find is it turns the tables on my life, and I don't need to be afraid of the things that
Yeah.
are happening or that could happen. It
Mhm.
could, you know, things that have happened in the past could happen again. I don't need to be afraid of what's happening in the world around me. There's a reason for it. There's something that I can take from it that
Yeah.
that
Need to be
helps me become a
willing
better person.
Yeah.
and we like a person you said the mother ball that we need to be willing to stick our hands and look for it, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
yes, you
And
have
that's
to be
Yeah.
willing.
the
Yeah,
courage. Yeah, but
yeah,
sometimes you just have to face it and just do it.
yeah.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
can deal with it.
Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Learning and growth, sometimes it's not just easy, right? Clear
Yeah,
path.
yeah.
Sometimes you have to put your hand
Mhm.
into the mud.
Mhm.
One of
Yeah.
my teacher told me that the people could be a sandpaper. So sometimes it's really rub your nerve and rub your skin and it hurts by dealing with the other difficult people. But actually, they're polishing your soul. And then until then, I was like, I don't want them to polish me. But you accept that, okay, by going through this, I can shine more. Then you can kind of accept it.
Yeah.
I
And say,
love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But Chris is just saying hi. I just want to mention saying it's good to learn how to shift your energy, and thank you for the comment. And I'm glad to hear that you are learning something from our chit chat. Yeah.
If you have any questions,
Yeah.
please send those in by chat here, and
Mhm.
we'll be happy to address those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's almost time. So
Mhm.
it was so what we were talking about, just trying to summarize,
Mhm.
making decision fear-based or love-based,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then 35,000 decisions we make average in one day,
Mhm.
and we want to be in a love-based mindset so we can make choice based on love, and that's helping us, of course, and ourselves, health and relationship, right? And it just goes just keeps going,
Mhm.
right? And starting within, grounded, centered, those mindful exercise, meditation, Ho'oponopono, that was great. And just start with us, right?
Mhm.
And healing. And then it's unlimited,
Mhm.
right? And we can heal together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll just mention one other little counterpoint. It'll give some balance to some of the things we were saying before we wrap up, and that is that pearl that's sometimes in that ball of mud. It can be a message that there's that person who keeps giving us those balls of mud. We can change the way we relate, and maybe that person isn't necessarily a positive person that we want to continue to keep the relationship with. Not every relationship is meant to stay forever in our lives. Maybe the whole idea was to get the message that we can move on, and we need healthy boundaries at the same time, right?
There's lots of different kinds of messages.
Yeah. It's that pearl can just be awareness that and that being able the need to be able to create healthy boundaries and things like that.
And then the message to receive the correct message, you want to be centered, right? Fear-based, and you're not gonna receive the message.
Right.
If you're in love-based, you can receive the message and you can act out of love. Yeah.
So that jerk in your life can be doing you a big favor.
Yeah.
What we're saying, that sandpaper, right?
Much.
Polishing our soul.
You go visit them and thank you very much.
Yeah.
Good.
Anyway, thank you so much,
Thank you very
Mari-san, for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Was
and thank you everybody online. Yes.
It was very great talk. We can have with you, and we'll have you back sometime, and can't wait to talk about different stuff and to grow, learn, be better.
Yeah, we'll keep the conversation going because there's so much more to talk about.
And then again, or this one, Mari-san, if anybody is interested in Mari-san's Reiki session or want to learn how to do Reiki, this is her website, right? Jikiden Reiki with Mari.com. So visit there, and she is. I'm sure I haven't had Reiki session with her, but I can feel her energy. There'll be every session probably will be wonderful session. Yeah. So
Great.
thank you so much, Mari-san.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll see you. Bye bye. Thank you for watching.
So much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.